welcome to another DCU Daily. I am John. Very nice to meet all the new faces. If you don't know, I am John. Very nice to meet you. But for all the regulars, hello again. I saw Monique in the chat already. Hello, Monique. Very delicious meal you've made. So maybe we'll touch upon that a little bit later. But for now, I got to get the intros out of the way. But hello. Nice to see you all. We have obviously a ton for you guys today. Today we have, we're first going to be getting into the news with box office updates and more Superman updates and a little bit of a short list apparently. Amazon might have their team of directors they want for the upcoming James Bond film they might be working on. Or it could be BS. We don't know, but we will judge for ourselves on that. We have a ton of quick hits. Obviously, we will try to get through those as quick as we can. But speaking of British people, Clayface, our new Clayface is technically a British actor. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Superman's ad spot, the new poster, and apparently Gunn's secret project, and him dropping the bomb that the rumor that Bradley Cooper was going to be in Superman, but maybe not for the role you wanted to see. So obviously we will have to see about that. But before we move on, I did want to introduce my co-host today. And today, not Liz, but Bridget has joined us once again. Hello, Bridget. How are you doing on this wonderful day?
I'm super tired. I'm not going to lie. I drove like 5 hours today, so I'm pooped. But I'm excited to be on the show.
Okay, I'll do most of the talking then. So it's fine. You could just stay there and just look pretty for the audience. It'll be fine.
Sounds good.
But I just wanted to highlight some comments. Hello, Caleb. Hello, Monique. Nice to see y'all in the chat. But before we move on, we have to show that the world is Knuff with our boy Ryan Gosling. So let's get into the news intro and then finally into the news proper.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
You're
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. And you're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see Cole's.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Now, let us get into the news proper. First things first, let me change the banner. I forgot to do that, sorry. But first things first, we are going to get into box office stuff. Well, it is coming today. I keep forgetting today's Friday. I don't know why I keep thinking today's Thursday. This week has gone by way too quick. But apparently, Danny Boyle's 28 years later, the threequel, the first of an upcoming trilogy, hopefully trilogy if they get funding for that last movie. Apparently it's doing really well. Comparatively to the more crowd-pleasing family film Elio, as Danny Boyle's 28 years later takes home almost $6 million in previews, while Elio only takes $3 million. Now, is that surprising to you, Bridget, considering Elio is a Pixar movie? It's more crowd-pleasing. It's a family picture rather than 28 years later, which is more of a visceral, dark, zombie horror film. So I'm curious to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I have to wonder if maybe because, being a scary R-rated film, you would think it might draw less than like people who can bring their kids, lots of family stuff. But I wonder if maybe people all went to go see Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon. And when picking between kids' movies, maybe they don't want to also go to see this as well in theaters. Maybe they're going to wait for Disney Plus.
It's entirely possible because Elio hasn't received a lot of marketing. It's not as familiar. It's an original film. While meanwhile, How to Train Your Dragon and Lilo and Stitch, they are familiar territory. Liz has talked about this on the show many times, how we're just kind of sick of seeing new stuff because it's a risk. We don't want to waste money, especially with how movies are getting more and more expensive to go to. It's like, you know what? Even though it's a remake, it's technically a different movie. How to Train Your Dragon is safe. Lilo and Stitch is safe. People, for the most part, know what to expect.
Yeah.
And kind of weirdly the same for 28 years later. Now, not to say Danny Boyle makes the same movie over and over again. That is not true. The man is a very talented filmmaker. However, it is a threequel compared to the more original Elio, even though it has a lot of familiar tropes. 20 years later is a legacy sequel. So people are like, all right, I kind of want to go see this. It's a name. Danny Boyle's a name. Alex Garland is a name. It's been getting marketed a lot more.
It has,
so maybe it's not as surprising as one would think that, take that for now, at least in the Thursday previews, it takes home the gold. And it's entirely possible that, 20 years later worked in previews because people can, they're getting home from work and they don't have to worry about like going to school the next day. Well, you got to get kids in their beds very early so they can go see a late movie while, kids can't. So it's possible that Elio can come in and be third because we know, I think Lilo and Stitch is still in theaters. So they're probably, How to Train Your Dragon's probably going to get number one. Lilo and Stitch is probably going to be up there. Elio would maybe at most take number two, but if this is anything to go by, maybe 20 years later we'll take home the gold for this weekend, but we'll just have to wait and see. Just an interesting sort of turn of events.
It's almost like like an ice cream flavor. You have one enough times, you keep going back to it. But there are other flavors, but it's like, do I really want to get that one when I know that this one is so good?
Right. So, with this, 20 years later is, eyeing, kind of continuing what we were saying before in terms of the projections for the weekend. 20 years later is running higher. It is running to be allegedly 28 million to 30 million, while the more original Elio eyes for only 22 to 24 million, which is okay for both. Now, in comparison to their budgets, I know I have a strong feeling that 20 years later probably has a lower budget than something like, Elio. I mean, the budget for 20 years later is only 60 million. Meanwhile, Elio is 150 million. So for a big Pixar $150 million movie, 22 to 24 million isn't that great. But for 20 years later, it's looking really good because they make half their budget in the first weekend.
Yeah.
And this is only projection. So one could make more, one could make less. So only time will tell. So also I wanted to say hello to M8 or Mate, and hello to Maverick. But Caleb, being, in chat. Exactly. That was kind of what we were kind of really talking about here is we just haven't heard anything. That's kind of the big thing. We just haven't heard a lot. We only got the second trailer like 1 or 2 weeks ago, I think, around there. So that doesn't show a lot of trust. But I've heard it's a good movie. I mean, both have really good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and both are starting to get traction. Both say they're really, critics are saying both are very good movies, obviously for very different reasons. But obviously, only time will tell. Maybe the projection will be wrong. Maybe they'll be right. But it is definitely interesting that a hard R zombie film might take home the gold and might beat Pixar. They're definitely not beating How to Train Your Dragon.
No.
For a fact that's the case. But just an interesting turn of events. But as a horror fan, I'm happy. Good. Screw you, Disney. No, I'm just kidding. But I think I just think, it's nice for horror movies to take home the gold every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited for it. I will be seeing it tomorrow. And I will be doing a review on my personal channel for that. Well, one of the many personal channels I have. So we will be reviewing on the Cool Kids 20 years later tomorrow. So can't wait for that, and I can't wait to check out the film. But moving on from box office to more Superman stuff, we are going to be talking about Superman for the time being. And it is, it's going from one money thing to another. Apparently, Superman has already earned $10 million from ticket pre-sales, which, by the way, if we're talking about box office previews, spreading out between the prime early screening and normal pre-sales, that already beats the hell out of Danny Boyle's 5.8 million and Elio 3 million combined. So it's already looking up and up for our boy Soups over here. Yeah. But they also were showcasing a nice, fun magazine cover on L'Écran Fantastique. The trio that will be heading the new film that James Gunn has talked about many a times before. But thoughts on this little quick news of our boy Superman just wrecking the box office already?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't totally surprise me because it's obviously huge franchise. They're doing a lot of marketing. And I know we're excited, and I think a lot of people are really excited and want to fill up the theaters as soon as it opens. They want to get their seats.
As Maverick said, cha-ching. Mm-hmm. I have heard the ending is a lot, and I don't know what it is. I just know that someone I follow on Letterboxd, they just cried for 5 minutes after. So I'm curious what that's gonna be. I am not one stranger to crying in a movie theater. I cried at the end of Wonka. I cried at the end of My Dead Friend Zoe. So if this is gonna make me cry, then I'll say it in my review.
Just bring your tissues.
Superman is blowing up, and I just noticed that your profile picture is of Ralph Macchio and you. Nice. Love that. Love to see it. But yeah, love to see our boy Superman just wrecking stuff already. And according to Manos Time, hello Manos. I don't think we're going to be talking about this, but thank you for bringing it to our attention. Apparently, a big theater in France said that the Superman screenings have sold out. So again, adding into what we're talking about here. So it works with all this. And as Caleb said, look up. So moving on from one thing to another, speaking of tickets.
You're trying to hypnotize us.
So just a cute little thing. Love to see it. I don't know what Rachel Brosnahan is wearing. It looks like a cheerleader's outfit, but even then, it's cute to see. Cute to see all of these little videos that we were going over a bunch of them yesterday because they were at Manila, and we will be getting into more of those right now. James Gunn talking about just showing the support for all the fans that are excited to see this movie. And Peter, our boy Peter Safran there as well, not getting a lot of love, but we were mentioning the trio yesterday, and it's nice to see Peter Safran getting in on the action. I mean, he is the co-CEO; he heads all the business stuff. So, hell yeah, nice to see you. I forgot to mention him yesterday. I apologize, but Peter Safran, you're part of the magic too. It's not just the three. So. Fan response. Look at this.
I know.
It's good to have Superman Lois chemistry so far. Yes, thank you, Dan. But yeah, I think Monique, Caleb is just trolling. Caleb is our resident troll and shit poster here. He likes to make jokes all the time. Yes, we will be doing a Q&A towards the end of the show. So stay tuned for that. But on to the next thing, just showing off the supercar, apparently.
Yeah.
in a jeepney, and still in Manila, just showing off, just like rocking. I will say, out of the fit here, I gotta say Peter Safran is rocking it the most. Like you got the blue sports jacket, the white pants, no.
Yeah, he does look good. Those shoes look nice. The loafers.
James Gunn's good. Rachel Brosnahan's always beautiful. I'm just saying, David, I love you. You're an attractive man. I can't wait to see the movie. What up with the brown and mustard suit, my guy? You're not. You look like my grandfather, and he didn't exactly have fashion sense. So I'm just saying, you're a good-looking dude. Just try to maybe wear something a little bit more vivid. But I'm saying, Peter Safran, you're looking good, man. But we gotta glaze everybody here. But yeah, showing off these little jeepney things, just very cute, very wonderful. And I love. Okay, if I were to interview James Gunn about anything, I'd just be like, okay, bro, I don't mean any disrespect because I do the same thing too. What is up with your resting bitch face? Because you look like you're not out to like kill people right now. It's supposed to be like a happy moment. Your movie's doing great. People are excited, and you look like you're like gonna just like I wanna hurt everybody. It's like, come on.
I mean, maybe he's just really sleepy because maybe they're jet lagged.
That's fair. That is fair. I mean, it is a resting bitch face. I mean, my resting bitch face looks like I look like a Pile in Full Metal Jacket. I'm just like, just the eyes and the eyebrows. That's just how I am. So I'm just sometimes. I mean, considering directors don't make money like actors do, at least the top tier actors, that makes sense. I mean, half of them are. I mean, that's what Brady Corbett said when he was doing the Oscar circuit for Brutalist. But Manos is saying, hey John, I don't know if it's better to say that now or later during another segment. What are your thoughts on the main complaint Snyder Cult that is this Superman always screams he's insecure? I felt that was a ridiculous thing, but these people are ridiculous. They are just trying, like, there's, like, Henry Cavill screamed. He screamed a lot. He screamed when, his dad died. He screamed, when he killed General Zod. He screamed when he died, but nobody's saying he's insecure, so I don't know, just like another ridiculous thing from this cult.
That's really strange.
Exactly. My resting bitch face looks like I'm like remembering Nam, and I wasn't even alive during Nam. So like, I'm trying to smile,
He's smiling internally, even if you can't see it. It's there.
I am smiling. I'm just never externally, but again, doing another cute get your tickets now sort of promo, and then showcasing the Manila fans once again, seeing the 30-minute preview or either right before or right after, and then them signing autographs and just like rocking it. Just like I can't imagine what's going through all their faces right now. Just David Cornsweet going from nobody to like ultra star in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
This is just damn. Like who's paying for this shit? God damn. Like God, I was saying this the other day. I swear I think they have to get $1 billion because that's where they're gonna break even with this damn marketing budget.
Yeah. I mean
shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like a Tom Cruise level world tour.
Also, hello, Marco Ramos. Very nice to see you. Yes, the only good David. Congrats to David Cornsweet to be the only Philadelphia native to be a decent person. Congrats, man. Love to see it.
First time.
So the first decent person ever born in the entire city of Philadelphia. Way to go, man. You should be happy. And now the entire comment section is just about me smiling. So anyway, but next up we have the showcase of more of a retro poster. It's got it looks more like kind of like a Stephen Chornay, Drew Struzan kind of painted feel to it. It's got the heads at the bottom. That's a very old school thing to have, looking great. This was spotted in LA, and we do have a closer bit of a closer look for you guys. So yeah, we got you can kind of see like the painting of it. I thought this was a fan poster at first because it looked so good and it was so different. But no, it's got some, you know, it was definitely it was made for and by the movie. Not a ton of bulge. I know Dan would be very upset. Not a lot of bulge. Yes, Caleb, I love it. But yeah, loving the
so pretty
70s-esque painting poster. That's great to see. Exactly. I mean, the man, it's like, you know what it's like? It's like Mark Hamill getting cast as the Joker, and Mark Hamill, Arkham. There you go. He was born for it. It was perfect. Yeah, because y'all don't care about sports, but there's a lot of.
If you just drive up north, you'll realize. You'll start passing it on the roads, and you'll know.
No bulge, Dan. No bulge. I'm sorry. Yeah, needs more bulge. Bulge is making the $1 billion. I would hope so. But unfortunately, neither of us got a chance to see this, but we will be highlighting some stuff that James Gunn said in this interview. You know, mainly talking about all sorts of different stuff about the upcoming, you know, not just Superman, but the upcoming slate, as well as talking his directing styles and the movies, music as well. How he talked about some of his older films and all that. So you could take a look. I mean, we've been kind of showing off the DC Studios Showcase podcast for the last couple weeks. It's on episode 15. So the man himself finally got a little bit of love, as you know, David Corenswet, Isabella Merced, Sarah Sampaio, Skylar Gisondo, Maria Gabriela De Faria. I finally remember the name off the top of my head. That is what James Gunn loves nothing more than to be a little cock tease. He's a little cock tease. That's what James Gunn loves, to be a tease. So obviously you guys can catch this. It's a little bit longer than David Corenswet's review, but interview, sorry. So it's a little bit more than an hour. So if you have a little bit more than an hour, then by all means, go and check out the review. Yeah. But we are going to be getting into a little bit more. The last thing we're going to be talking about is in fact James Bond. Apparently the shortlist for the purely Amazon film without the broccolis, apparently there was a director shortlist. Somebody tweeted it, and David Heyman and Amy Pascal, the producers of this up-and-coming Dead franchise, revealed the shortlist, and apparently it's got some interesting names on it. You probably see on the top right of your screen, but we will get into that soon enough. But apparently the first person we have is, you know, I mean, I'm pretty sure all of these have gotten an Oscar nod at some point or the other. The first being Edward Berger, who directed All Quiet on the Western Front and Conclave. Yeah. He did mention some years ago that he did want to direct a Bond film when it was under the broccolis. So it's entirely possible he could give us something really exciting. I mean, he's done action with a very different kind of action with All Quiet on the Western Front. And then on top of that, you know, he gave us more like deep-rooted character building and dialogue stuff in Conclave, and he's done other films as well, but those are the two latest and greatest he's done, as All Quiet won the Academy Award for Best International Feature, and Conclave was robbed of the Best Picture Oscar as it was only nominated. But I think Edward Berger would be a very good pick. Do you think Berger would be a good pick? Did you? I forget if you saw Conclave or All Quiet.
I did. And I liked it a lot. And just the cinematography style was brilliant. So I feel like that would actually be quite fitting for a James Bond movie, personally. It was just a nice picture. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a really, really good. I think that would be a good pick. Not totally safe, but I mean, he is German. He is not British, so that would definitely be a very interesting turn. I know there have been other non-British directors, but it's always interesting to see people take on this British institution of Bond who are not British. So although Maverick was asking who is the best James Bond ever, if we talk about the best, we would be here for hours upon hours. But my personal favorite that I've seen, I've seen all of them except Brosnan and Moore. Out of the ones that I've seen, the best, it's Connery's excellent, Dalton is excellent, Craig is excellent, Lazenby's okay. He's probably the weakest, but it would be a toss-up probably between Connery and Craig and Dalton for me personally. Connery nailed the attitude, but I feel like a lot of things he did was it wasn't as layered as it could have been, because James Bond is a bit more of a layered character than you would think. I mean, they couldn't really do that in the 60s, which is fair. But Craig and Dalton got into more of those character moments, and Dalton is considered to be the best book to film adaptation of the character. So, yes, if I had to pick Dalton or Craig, my personal favorite, I don't know the best. Connery is probably going to remain the best, but that's just for me personally. And then the James Bond song, You Know My Name by Chris Cornell, easily the best. Easily the best. Who do you think is the best Bond and the best song for the franchise?
Best song, I couldn't really tell you. I haven't even watched a single Daniel Craig as James Bond movie yet. I've only seen the Connery and Brosnan ones, which I love both. I don't know. I think I saw more of the Pierce Brosnan ones. So to me, he's like the James Bond, but I think it really depends too on which kind of era you saw the most.
That's fair. But yeah, I think that's a very good answer. But I think Berger would be a good addition. Next one is Denis Villeneuve. This man has made some of the greatest sci-fi films the past decade, the best crime thrillers. It would be a very different choice, but I think he would also nail it as again, French Canadian. But Denis Villeneuve, most recently directing the Dune movies and the upcoming Dune Messiah, I think he would be a very good choice. But what do you think? Do you think Denis Villeneuve would be a good choice?
Yeah, I obviously with Dune, I think he could bring a lot as well to some of those really epic action sequences. So I could also see, again, all of them doing a Bond film would be so different, but I could see it working. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. He could make it really super gritty like those, like a proper espionage movie.
Yeah.
The best Bond girl name? I don't really know the name, but the best probably is Vesper Lind. She's probably one of the best. She's one of the most memorable to me, at least. But she was great. But next we have, finally bringing in a Brit, would be Edgar Wright. Now, Edgar Wright hasn't really done a ton of pure action. He hasn't done spy, he hasn't done espionage, but he would be a very different choice. Maybe a little if Berger and Villeneuve, I think, would do something super modern and gritty. I think Edgar Wright could do something a little bit more like latter Connery, early Moore era Bond, where it's maybe not like comedy, but a little bit lighter on its feet kind of thing, like a little bit more, I don't want to say campy, but I think he would probably bring in that angle as well. But I think Edgar Wright would be a very good, very different choice. But considering the action he directed with Baby Driver, it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Next is a Nolan, but not the Nolan you would expect. Not Sir Christopher, but in fact his brother, Jonathan Nolan, was on the short list. I think it's probably because they can't afford Christopher Nolan, and on top of the fact, he would probably have a hefty salary and want full creative control. Now, I'm not saying that Berger, Villeneuve, and Wright wouldn't, but I feel like this, out of the 5 guys they chose, would be the safest choice, because it's like, all right, we can get the vibe of Christopher Nolan without the hefty price tag, and we can kind of like puppeteer him a little bit. Not saying Jonathan Nolan's a bad like writer or filmmaker or anything. He's produced a lot of great stuff. I don't think he's ever formally like directed anything, but I mean he did write for the Dark Knight trilogy. He wrote Interstellar. He created Westworld. He helped create Fallout. So I don't know how he would be as a director, because he's only directed TV shows. So I think this is probably, ironically to say, I wouldn't mind him writing one, but he hasn't directed anything major yet, except for episodes of TV shows, which is not too bad of a jump, especially with how cinematic TV shows are now.
Right.
But I think it would be a bit of a not great choice to have him direct. If he is writing and Christopher is directing, I'd say all hands on deck, give me that movie. But as a director, he has not shown himself. He's not shown like a true body of work like Berger, Villeneuve, and Wright has. So out of these, he's the weakest choice, in my opinion. I don't know if you feel the same way or if you think he could surprise us, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's fair just to say he doesn't have the same experience necessarily. So it's hard to know. Of course, he could be capable of something greater than we know of, but because we don't really have any proof, it's hard. I mean, yeah, besides his TV work, which I know has been
has Danny Boyle ever made an action movie? Probably. The man is a jack of all trades, so I'm assuming he's probably made an action movie in there somewhere. But yeah, Jonathan Nolan's probably the weakest of this list. But Paul King is the last one. Now, Paul King, he directed recently Wonka, and I think the first 2 Paddington movies. He's also, directed a couple other things, but those are the most like notable stuff he's done. Apparently he is supposed to be directing Wonka 2 soon. So Paul King is definitely a very strange choice, but honestly, it would be the most exciting out of all of these, because I have no friggin' clue what to expect from a James Bond movie directed by the man who gave us Paddington. Honestly, I want to see it for the experimental aspect alone. So, honestly, if I had to like sort these, and as well as that, Paul King is like super British. Like he's like the Britishest of the British. Like if I had to pick like a British Wes Anderson, that would be this guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely has like the kind of symmetry thing going on. It would be the weirdest choice, but honestly, I could really see it. If I had to rank them, my favorite would probably be Paul King, then Villeneuve, then Berger, then Wright, then Jonathan Nolan. I would say Paul King. No, let's not get Tom Hooper to direct a Bond movie. He killed his career with Cats. Let's leave that dead. But honestly, Paul King, that would be a very interesting choice. Do you have a favorite out of these 5, or are you just kind of like, all of them can do a good job?
For me, it's probably Edward Berger. I don't know, like when I saw Paddington and Wonka, I was like, he might be actually in the bottom of my list, just because it could be. I don't even know what that would look like. So.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of the most exciting because it would kind of be the most like
potential
unpredictable, I guess. But I don't know. I just think that would be like fun because it's like, okay, with like certain people, I'd be like, oh, I expect this guy to give us like a gritty action movie. This guy to have like a grounded like warlike movie. But like Paul King, I have no clue, and honestly, that's awesome. But I can see people's reservations. Like, it's not like I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Like, no, I get it.
It'd be funny. It'd be like to see the jump from like Paddington 2 to James Bond is just funny in itself.
I definitely agree with that. But that is it for the news. But now we're gonna get into the quick hits. We're gonna get that bossa nova elevator music on. Come on, let's make that a little more. There we go. We don't have a ton of quick hits, but we have enough that could be very exciting. But the first thing we have is talking about Fantastic Four. Apparently, Fantastic Four will lead directly into Doomsday, which shouldn't be a surprise considering Fantastic Four and the main villain is Doctor Doom, and they are proper adversaries, so makes sense. But apparently they were showing off the film at I think one of these festivals. I think it was Cine Europe, and they were showing off how we are going to be getting. It's going to lead directly into it. It's probably going to get a proper scene with Robert Downey at the end of Fantastic Four. Maybe, maybe not. Obviously, we'll see. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And I know a while ago there was a theory that I don't think it had been confirmed that the little clip at the end was him on the bed with the young Franklin. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly how it does segue.
Yeah, I think definitely will be pretty interesting. But going from from one big sequel to another. Apparently, Owen Wilson is to reunite with Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro on Meet the Parents 4. This was recently talked about a couple months back with John Hamburg set to write direct sequel. What are your thoughts on this? Is this exciting to you, or you say this franchise should stay dead?
I mean, that is exciting. They're pulling in another classic A-list actor, so yeah, I think it will bring back hopefully some of that great chemistry that they used to have. I know Ariana Grande's in it too. So I guess
I saw the first one. I thought it was funny. I didn't bother with the sequels, but hopefully all the fans can be excited for this if they are. But definitely a very different type of movie, Sinners. The big original hit of this year. It sets the streaming premiere at Max, which is going to be on the 4th of July, Independence Day. Nothing sells American Independence Day like an American man killing Irish vampires. Let's go. Are you gonna have you seen Sinners at all or no? Are you gonna watch it on Max now on good old July 4th?
Now that I know the premise, I don't know. Vampires have always scared me, so I don't like vampire movies, to be honest. Probably not.
That's okay. But yes, cookies ahoy. I'll watch Independence Day and then I'll watch Sinners. Very good, very good idea, Caleb. But yeah, July 4th, you can finally catch Sinners. If the theaters were too expensive for you, catch it on Max. Well, soon to be HBO Max once again. But now going to Marvel DC stuff again. Apparently, Kevin Smith is to write a new comic in honor of the Marvel and DC Comics crossover. The Deadpool Batman #1 is going to be coming up this September, but Kevin Smith is going to be writing a Daredevil Green Arrow comic. Thoughts on this? I know you don't really read a lot of comics that much, but is this interesting to you?
Yeah. I mean, I know a little bit of the Green Arrow story, so yeah, that's actually really cool. Continuing it.
And yes, thank you, Marco. But yeah, I think this is really exciting. I might read the crossover stuff if it's good, that is. But next up, we have Russell Crowe is reuniting with Henry Cavill. We're having a Man of Steel reunion in Chad Stahelski's Highlander. He will apparently be playing the role that was made famous by Sean Connery. Speaking of Sean Connery, so if he is staying a Spaniard, that will be very interesting because we're cultural appropriating the Spanish once again. If Russell Crowe is playing a Spanish guy, thoughts on this? Do you think this is good, bad, intriguing?
Intriguing, yeah. I mean, it's funny, when I was younger, Henry Cavill was like 16, I think, in The Count of Monte Cristo, and this kind of reminds me of that same kind of like classical vibe. So it'll be exciting to see him again in that kind of role.
Interesting. What was the channel? I'm curious what channel that was. Was it like specifically people excited for the Superman movie, or specifically called the Oh So Curious channel, Gun Glazers? Because that's the thing I'm curious about. But yeah, Russell Crowe. Why not get like an actual Spanish guy? Anyway, next thing we got is Steven Spielberg apparently thought Jaws would be the last movie I would ever be given to direct, considering the massive amount of production problems that caused the ultimate classic that recently turned 50. So, do you think this is funny to look back on now, considering how the legendary maestro he is, Steven Spielberg?
Yeah. And again, like, I feel like it's something we can kind of relate to, that moment where you're like, oh shoot, like, I'm totally gonna get fired for this. But it's great that he was able, it was a hit, and I'm sure that's what made people forget his mistakes. It's okay.
Yeah. Good to see this, but it all turned out okay in the end, and we're still talking about it to this day. So next up, we have Abigail Breslin and Boo Boo Stewart to star in dramedy movie A Good Fight. Thoughts?
Wow, I haven't seen Abigail Breslin in anything in a long time, so I love her. That's exciting.
Yeah, great. And then finally, we have the Lean Green Toxic Machine. Apparently, Toxic Avenger got a new trailer today. I did watch it. It's the proper bloody, disgusting, ridiculous crap you expect from Troma. This is probably the most cinematic the movie has looked, because it's been looking pretty cheap, not like in like a bad way, but just like it looks like really bargain bin. But here it looked a little bit more cinematic. Maybe it was for the trailer, maybe not. But did you catch the trailer for this? And if you did, do you have any thoughts on that?
I did not.
That's okay.
Trailer, sorry.
But I can tell you, I'm super pumped for this. Troma has been, without Troma, we wouldn't have James Gunn. So there is that as well. But Macon Blair gave us this little movie. It's got Peter Dinklage, Kevin Bacon, Jacob Tremblay. It's got a really good cast. It looks ridiculous. It looks bloody as hell. It looks like a lot of fun. And I like the different things they're doing with this remake, but keeping all the things that really, really worked about it. So, love to see it. But yeah, that is actually it for the quick hits. See, the quick hits were quick this day.
Yeah.
But next up we have, of course, DCU Daily, guys. So let me get to that proper banner up, and hello, welcome back to DCU Daily. I'm John. Nice to see you. And now we also have Liz. Liz here, not Liz, sorry, Bridget. I'm so used to saying Liz. I'm so sorry, Bridget.
Sorry.
Oh, God. I was being so good, and then I finally flubbed up. I apologize.
No worries. Seriously, call me whatever you want.
So good as host. I was like going through all the things, doing all the things right, and then I finally flubbed up.
That's all right.
God dang it.
That's okay,
Anyway,
Dan. I'll forgive you.
It's okay. But first things first, dogs. Let's talk about dogs, guys. The first thing we have, apparently, our boy DC, David Cornsweet, brought his own dog to the set of Superman. And her name is Ira. And she got her own little good boy. Ira, thought it was a girl's name, my bad. But he's a good boy. But apparently, he brought his little dog to the set in a movie that celebrates the greatness of goodest boys. What are your thoughts on this? Do you just want to melt into yourself with how adorable this is?
Yeah, I love him in his little Superman outfit.
He is.
So cute. Oh, yeah, that's really sweet. And I wish I could have been there in person. That looks like, I'm sure everyone on set was having a blast. That's really cute. And great promotion. Great promotional material.
Yeah, it's adorable. It's wonderful. It looks great. IMAX saying that's the goodest boy. Love David even more now. But yeah, love how he has a little mohawk too. But he did bring the goodest boy to set. And I'm just glad he got a little costume and cape.
Yeah, so cute. Oh, little twinsies.
Loving to see it. Now we just got to keep playing this over and over again for the views, guys.
Yes. Yeah.
It'll bring in those views, we swear. And then we'll showcase, the like, oh guys, look, a dog. Look. More views, please. But yeah, absolutely fucking amazing. Loving to see it. But just a couple more pictures of the good old doggo on the set. We see some stuff in the background. Very interesting pictures, by the way. But yeah, loving it.
So
loving the doggos.
Probably had him audition for Crypto and he didn't get it.
Yeah, it's okay. I believe that's, if I were to say, I think that's a Cocker Spaniel or something like that. A Spaniel in that family. Yes, thank you, Monique. Cocker Spaniel. I'm usually not good with dog breeds. Like, I am aware of them, but I never know the proper names. Exactly. A lot of them look similar. So my sister would know. She's really good about she'll point to a dog that's this thing, and they're like, yeah, you're right. What the hell? Yeah. She definitely loves those dog breeds. But we love seeing doggos. We love seeing all sorts of doggos, and nice to see Ira. But next, we have a little quick picture of the entire cat. Well, maybe not the entire cast and crew, but a lot of them. We got, David and Sarah Sampaio, Nicholas Holt, another dog in the background, different dog, but still a doggo. Maria and Gabriela De Faria. So yeah, we got a ton. And it looks like they're on at least maybe not on the set, but on one of the many sets of the Fortress of Solitude. So this is great to see. Any thoughts on this? Very
nice BTS, and I'm sure everyone there, it'll be nice to have this 50 years from now and be like, that was me in the back.
Very cute. And James Gunn posted this a couple hours ago. So yeah, awesome. Lovely to see. And going from the joyous moments of good boys and girls to the most evil with ya boy Lex Luthor. Just like tall, dark, and Martian. Not exactly Lex Luthor. Just look at the aura of this man right here. I'm just saying. I know, like, he's supposed to be the bad guy. I'm just saying he's bringing sexy back with that bald head of it. And you know what?
He looks like he's trying to be Pitbull.
Hey, Mr. Worldwide. He might not be the man of tomorrow anymore, but he's man of the world. I don't know, but like he's definitely just like he's got the gotta give it to him stance, and just like look at that. Just look at that aura farming right there. That vibe.
Yeah. He's like manifesting.
Honestly, come on, Caleb. Don't compare Lex Luthor to someone like Andrew Tate. Like Lex Luthor at least is intelligent and like kind of cool and like maybe kind of interesting. Like, come on, don't compare the grossness of Andrew Tate to one of the smartest men in the DC universe.
I do see the resemblance, though. I see what you're saying.
But there is no sexy back bald as always. Well, it depends on the person. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, you know, Mr. Worldwide coming at you from Metropolis. Here he is, Lex Luthor. Anyway, absolutely loving this right now. Loving this aura right here. This is who, you know what this is? This is who the Snyder cultists think they are every time they leave a bad reaction on on like a picture or a video of anything from the newsroom. This is who the Snyder cultists think they are.
They leave their comment and then they're like,
look how cool I am. Like shitting on a movie by not letting a 10-year-old movie go. Aren't I so fucking cool? Yeah, that's who they think they are. But enough aura farming for now. We got to get into Clayface, a little bit on Clayface. During the DC Studios showcase, James Gunn kind of confirming what we all believed, that Clayface is probably going to be rated R. It's going to be like a hardcore body horror movie, so it's assumed that it's going to be rated R. So thoughts on that? Is that expected, or is that a surprise for you?
No, I think it makes sense. Let's go, but he's saying it now so people know not to bring their kids, can start finding babysitters.
Yeah. Exactly. Boom. There we go. No Jolly Ranchers for this, Lex. No, definitely not. I'm all for it. But yeah, good stuff. And I'm not shocked at all. I think we're going to be getting a great movie from this, now that it's all but confirmed that Mike Flanagan's story is staying the course. They're not rewriting it. They just tweaked it to fit it into this DCU. I know we got a comment a while back, a couple days ago, that someone was like, is this not an Elseworld story anymore? No, it is not an Elseworld story. It is part of the DCU. So this is probably the first time where we are going to see Batman, at least close to it, at least in like shadow in the background. I don't think they're actually going to cast somebody, because I think it would be awesome to have Batman be introduced in like a villain origin story movie. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So I think that would just be different and very interesting, but I don't think they're going to do that, because that would be maybe too risky, and they probably don't want to cast a Batman right now because they're still waiting on a script for Brave and the Bold, and Andy Muschietti is kind of dicking off doing something else and not really taking it seriously. So it's unlikely they would cast someone for Batman. They'll probably cast like a stand-in or something, and then they're going to actually officially cast someone later on. Yeah, I mean, it's DC's version of Flash and DC's version of The Substance as well, kind of, in a way. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, Lex Luthor in a lot of adaptations does have daddy issues. I mean, Michael Rosenbaum, who is considered to be the best Lex Luthor, had daddy issues. So, like, I'm just saying. But yeah, this was pretty much an obvious case, but it was nice to see confirmation. Nice to see they're actually kind of taking the risk, unlike a lot of the Sonyverse movies, which were rated PG-13, with I think the exception of Craven. So yeah, but not the only Clayface news we have. But this is coming from a scooper insider. Apparently, Clayface will center on the Matt Hagen iteration of the character. It is the same version popularized in Batman the Animated Series. Now, Mike Flanagan did state that the biggest inspiration for his script was the Batman the Animated Series episode Feet of Clay, which combined the backstories of Basil Karlo and Matt Hagen into one character. So it would make sense that, Matt Hagen gets a little bit more love. Maybe the one we saw in Creature Commandos was Basil Karlo, so who knows? But thoughts on this? I don't know if you know a lot of backstory in regards to the Clayface character, but does this intrigue you in any way?
Yeah, it does. And they cast, is it Tom Rise?
Tom Reese. Something.
Okay. Yes.
He was in a Doctor Who episode. That's how I know him. And he's done a couple other projects, but they were apparently blown away by his audition. So that's why they're using him here. But remember, this is coming from a scooper. This is coming from someone who might be bullshitting. So it might not be real, because the only thing we know of is that Mike Flanagan said, hey, I based it off of Feet of Clay, which is the episode from Batman the Animated Series. But it also, so I assume somebody just took that like, oh, they're just adapting that episode into a movie, but with more horror shit. Okay, it's going to be Matt Hagen. That's like what I gather from this. Considering that Clayfaces, there's been so many Clayfaces, there's been like 10 of them in the comics, and none of them really have like a memorable, like a super memorable name. Like, I mean, Basil Karlo is like kind of known, and Matt Hagen is kind of known because of the animated series, but none of them are like household names like Oswald Cobblepot or Pamela Isley or anything like that, ones that have not had that many. So a lot of them kind of get lost in the mix. So obviously we will have to see, but Steven also wanted to let you know that you look amazing today, Bridget.
Every time it boosts my confidence. I appreciate it.
But no Dan today, but he is in the chat. Here he is. There he is. I'm glad this Clayface isn't a Phantom of the Opera-esque serial killer. That would probably be if Matt Reeves ever used the character in the Batman. He would probably use that version of Clayface instead of the Clay monster.
Yeah.
But I would like to, here's the thing. I know here's the thing about Clayface. I think there's more precedent to Clayface because they did that in the Rebirth comics, and there are plenty of Clayfaces that did turn good in the comics. Not necessarily Basil Karlo, but a lot of them did. But I know they did that. They kind of did an anti-hero thing, more heroic thing with Basil Karlo in Detective Comics, which was really good. I loved his relationship with Cassandra Cain. It was so good. So, but I would like to see this more like villain-esque, because I think that would just be more interesting. But hopefully, with Clayface, we don't get like the literally me crowd like they did with Joker. But all right. Thanks, Maverick. I appreciate that. But
John, you look amazing.
Thank you.
I heard from a little bit.
But yes, Dan is DNK because that's his initials, Daniel and Khan. Global Studios. So Darkman or the Shadow Basil Karlo version. That could be kind of interesting. I think so. I would prefer like it to remain villainous because I think that's interesting. But I could also see them like playing it safe by doing the Venom thing. But whatever it is, yeah, I think so. But yeah, I think a more straightforward villain thing is just more interesting because that can set up, and it could set up this Gotham, set up this world, and it could be like have his own kind of vibe. But Clayface is kind of it's he's kind of its own thing. I mean, technically, it's more Phantom of the Opera because in terms of classic monsters, Phantom of the Opera is literally the thing that Bob Kane ripped off to create the original Clayface. So, I don't think so, but that's just me. But yeah. Dag it. Okay.
So many comments.
Caleb, no. Anyway, but that's it for the Clayface news. So we got a little bit for Clayface. I'm excited for it. It is supposed to come out September 11th of next year. So very, very exciting. They have their guy Ricky September. He's going to be the new Clayface, and it's probably going to be rated R.
Yeah,
we'll see if it is the Matt Hagen version or the Basil Karlo version. It looks like it might be the Matt Hagen version, but this is from a scooper, so it's probably unlikely that that's the case.
And if it is,
moving on to the next. Oh, sorry, what were you going to say, Bridget?
Quick thought: if it is the Matt Hagen, was he the one that was the actor? I can't remember. The actor turned Clayface or the treasure hunter?
Yes and no. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit comic nerd. I did explain this a couple days ago, but I'll go comic nerd again. It's fine. So essentially, in the 40s, they introduced Basil Karlo, which is a obvious reference to Basil Rathbone and Boris Karloff, two very famous horror actors at the time. So what Basil Karlo is, it was just literally just Phantom of the Opera. Like literally, he was just on a set and was just killing people because I believe the original reasoning was they were remaking his own movie and they didn't ask him to star, so he goes crazy and starts killing people. Batman stops him. I think they fight him like one or two more times, and then the character goes dormant. Literally, Clayface, it was only because that was the character's name he played in the movie. He called himself Clayface. He just wore a mask. It was literally just Phantom of the Opera.
No actual
So
shape.
then, years later, like decades later, I think in the 60s, they introduced Matt Hagen. Now, this guy was a treasure hunter, kind of like an Indiana Jones-like character.
Yeah.
And he finds in the Amazon like this weird like portal, like whirlpool kind of thing. And he falls inside and he gets like shape-shifting clay powers. So he becomes Matt Hagen in the comics is the first one to have like clay powers, and then they introduce like 17 other clay faces. Eventually in the comics, I think in like the 80s, Basil Karlo eventually got clay powers, but initially he didn't. So what they did for the animated series, they essentially combined the Basil Karlo backstory of him being an actor with name Matt Hagen and him being a clay monster and combine them into one.
I see.
So that is essentially what it is. There's like, and then there's like 7 other ones. It gets confusing. So,
the clarification.
Yes, I have it secretly in a vault. Matt Reeves actually gave everything to me, and I actually have it. I'm just waiting on James Gunn's phone call. That's all. But curious, Bridget, did you get your tickets for Superman? Yay! No beard stroke.
Early premiere.
Hell yeah. No beard stroke. I got to give it to you when you least expect it now. So. Kind of like Sandman and Spider-Man 3. I mean, not really. I mean, it kind of has that similar like effects vibe, but maybe like the newer version of Basil Karlo, not necessarily like the older version. The older one is more villainous, so we'll see what they do. But I'm excited for it either way. Next up, we have apparently we've got a new TV spot in regards to Superman. Obviously, we see some stuff that we've gotten before. Some new shots, some old shots. We got a little bit of Superman flying and some graphics and a little bit of Lois Lane here as well. But and we got a little bit of Lex Luthor with the Fortress of Solitude, and just some footage we've seen before, but also some different stuff. But overall, a good little TV spot. And we got some pictures here and there from said TV spot, but I managed to get a look at it before we started. I mean, the suit is looking really good here, but it looks like, we have those eyes that, like, his eyes are screwed up. Gotten some shots here and there that we've gotten before, but just engineer wrecking them robots, and we got a little bit of Metamorpho having kryptonite and making Superman weaker, and got some flying shots. Just overall another cute little TV spot, heavier on the weakness aspect and showcasing more of the super metahuman prison here. So how many people does Lex Luthor have kidnapped, and are there going to be more cameos in terms of other heroes and characters? Obviously, we'll see. But yeah, awesome to see. Got some more kaiju fight stuff, and then we got this absolutely fucking adorable shot right here of Crypto and Superman just on the moon, just in his arms, just like this is the greatest shot of the DCU right here. I'll tell you right now, greatest shot right here. Perfect.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts on this little TV spot? If you got a chance to see it, meeting all your expectations so far?
Yeah. Giving us different angles. I still like, I think, the first one the most. I've been seeing that play a lot. And I just kind of like the storytelling in that. But yeah, this was good as well. And I agree that this is the moneymaker right here.
Yeah, I think this is just absolutely brilliant in every form. That metahuman prison has no toilets. Well, that's what we thought about the Flash metahuman prison in The Flash, and it turned out they did have toilets attached to the wall. So maybe they do. We just couldn't see it. Let's go back a bit. I mean, maybe we just can't see them. Maybe they like come up from like the wall or something, or they like just materialize. Maybe it's like maybe they hit a button and it like materializes a toilet. Yes, that is true. Hi, Fiona. Crypto is the best boy. Well, yes, but Lex is a genius. Maybe he figured out how to make it work. But yeah, Superman on the moon with Crypto and him saving.
I agree with
saving
that.
Girl already, all-time Superman. Yes, absolutely. They really are showcasing that shot. So love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. But now there is one more thing before we get into the quote-unquote big story of the night. Apparently James Gunn was talking about how they have a big secret project, although it's not secret anymore if you talk about it, at DC in the works. But he was saying, my favorite thing has not been announced at all. One of the scripts people kind of know about. My script people don't know about. The other script people don't know about. So it's mostly stuff people don't know about. A couple of those things announced in January 2023 are in pretty good shape in terms of coming up, but there was one thing that I knew about from the very beginning, that when I pitched to David Zaslav what the DCU would be, I pitched to him. But we did not announce in that first meeting because I felt like it was too easy to rip off by another company. And so that's one of the main things. Surely he is talking about Kevin Feige ripping off or immediately launching similar products to compete with other studios. This is well known. Civil War was announced after Batman vs. Superman was announced. Thunderbolts was after Suicide Squad. Captain Marvel could be, considered, after Wonder Woman. The MCU multiverse, Spider-Verse, but then you also have New Gods was announced, and then they announced Eternals soon after, and ironically New Gods never saw the light of day, and then Eternals sucked. So it seems to be that Marvel has been ripping off quote unquote stuff. But I mean, that's been a thing for like decades at this point. I mean, DC has ripped off Marvel and Marvel has ripped off DC, but it's clear that James Gunn is holding this very close to his heart right now and doesn't want that to be leaked. So I'm just curious if you have any ideas of what that secret project might be. I know people have talked about a World's Finest movie with Batman and Superman. I know people have talked about, it's maybe, something or something else entirely. Do you have any idea what it could be? Do you think it features a character we haven't seen yet or will feature? I'm just curious. I'm just spitballing what.
I have no idea. It would have been something that he hasn't even announced at all, not even hinted at, like Teen Titans or anything.
Right. I think I'm curious what you guys are saying. I know like World's Finest is kind of the easiest thing easiest thing to say is World's Finest, but I'm curious what other people are saying. Bring Alan Richardson back. I'll take him as Aquaman over fucking Batman at this point. Like, goddamn. Shazam. No, Captain Marvel, as in the Brie Larson Captain Marvel, not the true Captain Marvel with what is now called Shazam. It is blasphemous. That's why it's Captain Marvel. It's the fucking Brie Larson Captain Marvel because DC doesn't like have the rights anymore, so they call him Shazam now, even though he's the real Captain Marvel. I'm aware. I don't make that mistake. It's the big red cheese is Captain Marvel, damn it, not this blonde chick. Zachary Levi. Well, less said about Zachary Levi, the better. But I'm just saying, Captain Marvel with the lightning bolt and, at DC, originally at Fawcett Comics. Yeah. I hope the project is Beast Man. That would be an interesting thing to greenlight. You would have it's BVS again. I hope there's a live action poster like this one. It'll be a Zatanna TV show to rival Wanda Scarlet Witch. I don't think so. But Caleb is recommending maybe a Holy Trinity. Maybe a Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman movie. That could be really good. But I wouldn't mind a Trinity movie, but the pillars need their solos first, obviously. I would say so. I would like to see, James Gunn does love his lesser characters, so maybe he does like something really weird, like an Animal Man movie or something like that, or like the Moana Beast or something like that. I think like really, really like just like DC list characters that not a ton of people know about, because the way that James Gunn talks about this, because he says this. I pitched him, but we did not announce it in that first meeting because I felt like it was too easy to rip off by another company. And so that's one of the main things. Now, obviously, companies can take an idea and then like just rip it off and make it their own. And it'd be totally different. But the thing I'm gathering from this is that I think in this case, I think that this character that James Gunn is writing for, there is a very easy Marvel counterpart. And I would say, I don't know anything specifically, but I would say I think it's like a fairly like easy thing that like something Marvel hasn't done yet, but that, DC maybe hasn't done yet either. Obviously, there's still a lot of popular heroes that haven't gotten like the light of day just yet. Maybe like Green Arrow, he hasn't gotten a true like live action movie treatment, and that is similar to Hawkeye. Even though Hawkeye has already gotten a show, but it's a whole thing. It's entirely possible that like maybe something like Martian Manhunter, like something like Alien at Marvel can be done. Or I could see like Adam Strange, and then maybe like Marvel kind of does like a similar thing, especially when James Gunn has already done space stuff before.
Live action Kite Man.
Maybe get Mark Norman to play him. That would be awesome. But yes, I did mention Kyle, Animal Man. That I don't think there is a Marvel equivalent of that, but they could probably obviously like rip off the idea. But yeah, Animal Man, Ambush Bug, like they could like, you know, rip that off for Deadpool, or like Section 8 could be something interesting that they rip off. But yeah, finally. Although James Gunn did talk about that, and it's not Justice League Dark, because he was saying in, I think it was that podcast, he was saying like, oh, Guillermo del Toro should direct that Justice League Dark movie. He's like, well, I haven't gotten anything from Guillermo, or this person should direct this. He's like, I haven't gotten anything from these people, so these will remain unmade because I haven't gotten anything. So if people want to make something, they can come to me, but I haven't gotten anything. So that's essentially what he was saying. Boom, perfect. We got it, guys. We got it. Condiment Man. Let's go. Condiment. We are getting a Condiment King movie.
I'm waiting. Finally.
Condiment King movie. We are here for it. Crazy Quilt is another one. Maybe it's Legion of Superheroes, because I think Marvel kind of has something like similar in that vibe. But Plastic Man is another one that can, you know, be ripped off for like Mr. Fantastic, or an Elongated Man movie. Yeah. There's obviously a lot of things. I'm willing to bet it's like definitely a smaller, a smaller like project, smaller character that you can do. So I'm willing to bet that. I don't have anything specific in mind, but maybe like a popular niche character that a lot of people like. Somebody like, you know, Plastic Man or Green Arrow or Animal Man or someone like that haven't gotten a proper like big screen treatment that could work. So maybe even Black Canary. Well, although she did get live action treatment in the terrible Harley Quinn movie, but maybe try to do something, you know, else with that. Maybe a Black Lightning movie, that could be awesome. Vixen could be really cool. So what happened? Well, I mean, Booster Gold, it's still in the, you know, it's still in the back. It's still still set. It's not greenlit because they're still working on it. Atom, that's another one. The Atom, they could rip that off for Ant-Man, whatever it was. But maybe Etrigan the Demon, also hi Frankie G, nice to see you. There's a lot of things you can go with, but whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be great. But he did say, but he was also saying, he was also talking about like Elseworld projects. He was saying, there's a ton of things that he was talking about in this this EW story and the podcast and all of that. One project in particular, he kept very quiet because he didn't want anyone to steal the idea. So that was saying. Gunn says he'll probably direct one of the new mystery projects he's writing. Well, I always leave saying I'm going to direct something till I'm actually done with the screenplay, and then I say, yeah, I want to do this, but it's probably that I will direct. Yeah, probably to be totally realistic. Yes, probably. The Guardians of the Galaxy director mentioned that when a well-known actor pitched him a project, he told him he was looking for a masterpiece. I told it to one person who came in and pitched something that was an Elseworlds tale. It was a very, very, very famous movie actor. I said, it depends on how the screenplay comes out. If it's a masterpiece, I'll make it, but it has to be a masterpiece. And he is like, I don't know if it's a masterpiece. He got all funny. He's still working on it, though. He's still trying to do it, so we'll see. Masterpiece might be pushing it, but it's got to be really great. So that was another thing he mentioned in regards to that story. But Gunn didn't just tease upcoming movies. He also mentioned another favorite thing that's a TV project. Then there's another TV show that's my favorite thing in all of this, and that is hopefully getting made soon. Booster Gold, probably. It's just my favorite thing. And then there's the movie. Oh, shit, I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not say, but there's a couple of other movies that are being written, one of which is in pretty good shape, another which is kind of closer to the start, but we feel positive about it. And then there's the thing I'm writing, which I think it's okay. So what will be the next thing after Clayface is not 100% certain, but it's pretty certain. So there's a lot of ideas. Question is another really good one. Martian Manhunter, Constantine, Dr. Fate, Doctor Strange comparison. Yes, thank you, Maverick. Make sure to hit the like button, guys, if you're liking what you're seeing. He rejected a Tom Cruise pitch. Honestly, I could see that because Tom Cruise is now in bed with WB. He jumped from Paramount from a plane to land on the ground at DC. So there is that. Yeah, so it could be anything, but he did say a lot in this, interview and a lot of things in like the podcast. So there's all that. But moving on to the final thing we have today, but apparently James Gunn said in that podcast interview that Bradley Cooper is going to be in Superman, just maybe not who y'all thought, but apparently he spills it that Bradley Cooper, Palm Clementif, and Michael Rooker, who we did already know, are in Superman, and they're playing the robots. So, unfortunately for all the people, Bradley Cooper is not playing Jor-El from the man himself who created the movie. Bradley Cooper is one of the robots. He's not going to be Jor-El. So, Bridget, I don't know if you heard about the rumor that Bradley Cooper was playing Jor-El, but is this better, worse? Does this make you excited, disappointed? Thoughts on the idea of Bradley Cooper joining the cast, but not who everyone envisioned?
I didn't know about that rumor, so I'm kind of indifferent because I wasn't expecting that, but I can see how people might be a little bit disappointed if they were expecting him to have a more major role.
Yeah, although Kyle, I agree with you. New Gods would be sweet, but a little bit later down the line. Birds of Prey, hell yes, we need a good Birds of Prey movie. Bradley Cooper as probably a side character that's gonna get fucking murked because we saw those robots get yeeted at the beginning in those trailers. So obviously we'll see, but it makes kind of sense. Like I assume Michael Rosenbaum is probably one of the robots too. But like Michael Rooker, he's kind of getting older now. He's kind of like half retired. So he's like, and he always said, if James Gunn calls me up, I am doing it. But like, I'm sure James Gunn is still aware of the fact that he's getting older and doesn't really want to do like in-person stuff anymore. So he's like, Mike, I'll work with you, but like have out a voice. And he's like, I got you, because he did a voice for Creature Commandos. So he's doing a voice for this as well, along with Bradley Cooper, who famously voiced Rocket Raccoon, and then Palm Clementif, who famously was Mantis in the Guardians films and holiday special. So who says he can't be both? Maybe, but like, I don't think so. I never thought he was Jor-El. I just think that would be a little bit too. How does he make so many robots? Kryptonian technology, man. Yes, indeed. Michael Rooker is Mary Poppins, y'all. Yeah, I'm sure Michael Rooker, he's gonna keep giving him work. Crockett the raccoon. I know. I don't think so. I don't know. It's just a little bit weird to me. Yeah, so this was kind of, unfortunately I have to have Buzz. I got to delete my history after this because then they're going to keep giving me BuzzFeed. I thought BuzzFeed fucking went bankrupt. I thought they were gone. We didn't have to deal with this.
They're so 13.
But yeah, so we do have apparently Superman Easter egg, in this BuzzFeed article, one of the faux Metropolis businesses in the arcade Cleveland, where today's scene is being filmed, is a chocolatier named Wesley Von Spears, named after James Gunn's dog and who appeared in 2 of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Very cute. Have you talked to any castmates from the Guardians of the Galaxy films on potential roles in the DCU? Yes. I didn't place any Guardians Easter eggs, but I may have placed a few Guardians who are Easter eggs, if that makes sense. So yeah, we did get a little bit of that. So, you know, we got some like cute things here and there about all the like cameos, and it's Gunn should reunite. Yeah, maybe. But it's just like a, you know, kind of a cute thing to see, you know, all the people he's worked with, you know, coming back. I mean, we saw Pom Clemente in the Suicide Squad. She played a stripper. And then it's clear that James Gunn likes to use the same people. I mean, Mike Flanagan does the same thing. He likes using the same people. So, you know, if you trust them, if you like them, might as well keep using them, right?
Networking is so imperative.
But that is not the final thing we have for you today. We still have to get into our little Q&A session. So we do have some banners, comments from you guys, and we're going to be getting into those right now. We have, I think we have like 5 or 6. But the first thing comes from JB1138. This was from earlier in the week when we were talking about when Gunn revealed that he revealed a lot of things about the characters in the DCU. He said that he's not interested in a funny, campy Batman. Well, JB had an interesting thought about this, and he was saying, I'm glad Gunn's Batman won't be funny or campy. I love the cartoon Batman the Brave and the Bold. I do as well. The Batman that does not eat nachos. And I know that's not what the movie will be based on. However, that show had Batman alongside many lesser-known DC heroes and villains, ones that we don't see very often, much like what Gunn likes to do. So if we got that Silver Age-style Batman, but not funny or campy, it would be great. I agree. I think that more so is more like the Bronze Age Batman, where he kind of had some of those. He still had like dark elements, don't get me wrong, but it was still like carrying over from the Silver Age. So I think a good like Bronze Age Batman, where it's like he still had those like kind of quirks of the Silver Age, like showcasing all these strange, weird villains that Gunn likes to put in a lot of his movies that he directs. But I think that would be great. I think that's a perfect idea to do that. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Bridget, if you would want to see more weird villains in any upcoming Batman movies.
I think it does. It shines the light on some of his favorites as well. And it's always really fun to you know, shine some light. And it gets tiring seeing the same people all the time. So it's kind of, it's nice not to just see, you know, the Joker for the 100th time. It's nice to see new characters.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it would be awesome. Again, like, you know, Caleb was recommending Crazy Quilts, you know, the Penny Plunderer. Like, it would be funny to like have those references or exactly. So whatever it is, nothing extremely goofy like Adam West, but nothing extremely dark like Christopher Nolan. We need a middle ground. I agree. I think a lot of directors seem, when they want to do like realistic Batman, I think they almost miss the point of what makes Batman interesting, is because he is a human man, which like goes into the more realistic aspects. But at the same time, he's fighting guys that are made of clay, or guys like the Joker where they fall into pools of acid. Yeah. Like, there's it's inherently weird and like, supernatural and paranormal.
Like a magical thinking element.
Yeah, the reason that Batman works is because he is a character that is firmly set in kind of the real world, as much as you can be, at least in, you know, his vicinity of Gotham, because, you know, there is like, oh, he's also best friends with a god-like being of Superman. So what I think is like, yeah, he's realistic, but like, the Batman villains are so bonkers and weird that a lot of the time they just almost don't work in a realistic setting.
Yeah,
because
they take you out of that.
They're paranormal. So when you have these directors like Nolan and Reeves, they're like, I want to do realistic Batman. It's like, it's kind of missing the point of what makes Batman so fun to watch.
Right.
So, you know, I'm just getting kind of sick of grounded Batman. Like, I liked the Batman. I love the Dark Knight trilogy. but like give us like
I think it
weird
strays
stuff
away into
again.
its own thing where it does kind of it's not really that close to the original Batman. It's great, but it's not. Again, I think you're right. It has to have a little of that suspension elevation happening.
I agree. But then our boy, the main man 2025, had a comment in regards to Rob Liefeld actually saying something right for once. Or the man who can't draw feet did say that Snyder fans need to fucking move on, man. Y'all need to just shut the hell up and move on. And this is someone who liked Man of Steel, so broken clock is right twice a day. But the main man had this to say: for years, I thought Liefeld was cranked up on something. Probably is. Usually. I ignore him. Last night, I wanted to buy him around. Yeah, honestly, as I said, a broken clock is right twice a day. Rob, even Rob, old man who yells at Cloud Liefeld, had a point. Go figure. I know that the comic book industry is filled with douchebags and assholes, and Rob Liefeld is one of many. But, you know, sometimes they have a point, and this was one of them. So thank you for. I agree. The main man. Maybe not a beer, but maybe like a soda, like a Diet Coke. I would get him a Diet Coke. He hasn't gone up to beer level just yet. But Nelson Moreno 4375 did. Speaking of Batman, though, he asked, because we have gone on many times about Superman having trunks, but he asked, should Batman wear his trunks in the DCU? Here's the thing when it comes to Superman and Batman. Superman, I think, always should have the trunks. That is, I'm going to die on that hill. I think he should have the trunks. I think it makes the most sense. It breaks up all the blue. It's just aesthetically, it looks better. And I also like David Corenswet's reasoning of he doesn't want to scare kids. He's like this godlike being, so he wears this like he's like I wear my underwear on the outside. So it's a very like cute, silly thing. So I agree with that. Now, Batman, I'm more indifferent about. Because on the one hand, I do agree that Batman, I think it all depends on the suit. Like, for instance, for years in the movies, we got an all-black suit, and there were no trunks because it was just black. Yeah, you had the yellow, but, like, it was mostly just a black suit, so there was no trunks to be had. And then finally, when we got a gray and black suit, in BVS, the first time we ever got that, there were no trunks, and that's one of the best looking suits we've ever gotten, period. Like, it had like the battle damage. It was like kind of like a mix between cloth and Kevlar, and it worked. So I think it all depends. If you're going with like a gray and black or a gray and blue, then I would say I think personally the trunks look a little bit better because it breaks up the gray. But if you're going for like a full black suit, a full gray suit, although that never really happens, but more like full black suit, you don't really need it. And I don't think it's like absolutely necessary like Superman. I think Batman would look better with them, but I'm not gonna like lose my shit over. I don't know if you think similarly, Bridget, or if you think I'm just kind of blowing smoke a little bit.
No, I mean, I think most of the iterations I've seen, he's always had trunks, so I didn't even know he could just have pants. I kind of feel like, yeah, I don't know. I also feel like the trunks is a very Superman thing. I don't know. I guess it really depends how it looks, but I think pants might suit him better.
I agree. Morrison and Neil Adams, Dixon are some versions about it that are comic book and fantastical, that are not grounded but are serious. I'm sure Gunn will pull from. Yeah, I agree with that, by the way. A true Arkham Asylum-ish suit would be cool. Yeah, I will say the only thing I get fidgety on, the thing I will like die on a hill for, is the ears. I hate the long ears. The long ears when it's like
Bunny Rabbit,
Batman, like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City level, or like Justice League Unlimited, they just look terrible. They just look stupid. Like, he doesn't look intimidating. He just looks like an idiot. So that's the thing I mainly, go crazy for it. Trunks, on the other hand, I personally think if Superman has trunks, I think Batman should have trunks. If Superman doesn't have trunks, then Batman shouldn't have trunks. But in this world of the DCU, Superman has trunks. I think Batman, to fit with the aesthetic, should have them, but it's not as necessary. I prefer it because, again, it just breaks up the monotony of the suit. But I feel like I think the gray without trunks looks better than the blue with it. The blue, it's just too much blue and it just looks weird, and you can kind of see more bulge there when it's no trunks. So for me personally, I think Batman should have this because he specifically says the DCU. I think he should have them in the DCU, but if he doesn't, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But moving on to our next thing, Kyle Kieswetter, who is in the chat right now, he had an announcement, and we wanted to highlight that here. But he was saying a couple weeks ago that on June 11th, exactly 1 month away from Superman, he was on vacation, and he proposed to his girlfriend, and she said yes. He was happy to be back from his vacation when he commented this a week later. So congratulations, Kyle. Love to see it. I hope it was because of Superman. That would be really awesome. But whatever the case was, happy things to you and your fiance now. Love to see it. Love to see the happiness be brought in the world. So thank you for letting us know. We appreciate it. And happy things for the future. But next up, for the last comment, we had God FR012 talking about the predictions from, I think it was yesterday, in terms of box office for the opening weekend for Superman. He was saying these trades estimate based on Friday to Sunday. Some maybe don't care and add Thursday. They're not including that sold out around the country Tuesday. Right, because I think he's talking about the early screening for the Prime stuff. And the projections we saw before the sales actually came around, did include everyone without knowing that there would be that Tuesday preview. So add another 20 to 50 million on for Tuesday and Thursday, you got your magic number. Of course, they will just count all of it in Monday after. It will make at least 150 million. So that is a fair case. So we might be looking at even more. I mean, we just talked about today how they already made $10 million in pre-sales for, I assume, the Tuesday screening and any early and any booked things for that weekend. So we're already on set to, have those really high numbers. And so it is more likely that we might be seeing 150. So I think I think we might be heading to that number. Do you think this makes sense, or do you think he's kind of blowing there a little bit?
Well, the way that you described it does, actually. That if they were ignoring those Tuesday pre-sales, I mean, that's a ton. That's going to be on the table. So, yeah, I feel like this sounds about right.
Yeah. I only work in black and sometimes very, very dark gray. We appreciate that enterprising. But Marco and M8 congratulating our boy Kyle, who said a nice big thank you. Yes, we appreciate you and appreciate you telling us. I saw on Facebook that Superman was released on June 19th, as in the original Superman. That's interesting. Let's clickety-clack on my keyboard here. No, Superman the movie in 1978 was released in December. So, yeah. So, I don't know what Superman Superman 3. Well, you should have said Superman 3 because you just said Superman here. Superman 3, Superman 2, Enterprising. Which one is it? You are confusing us. You've said 3 different movies so far. This is very confusing. So I'm going to look up all 3 of them, which one is correct. So yes, in 1981, June 19th, Superman 2 came out. So you were right on the last one. Okay. So that's kind of cool. So happy belated anniversary to Superman 2, probably the second best Superman movie we've gotten in theaters. But I didn't know Soup 78 released in December, ? Interesting. No wonder it feels like a December movie. I guess. But thank you for your comments, guys. But that was a very interesting God for Real 012. I don't think we've seen you before, but thank you for your comment. We appreciate that. But that's it, guys. That's it for the week. We had a pretty big week. We had like 3-4 hour shows this week, I think.
Wow.
But we thank you all for watching. Make sure, as we've said throughout the show, make sure to like and comment and subscribe. Congratulations again to Kyle. Make sure to comment after the fact so you can we can show your comments for this Q&A session. We only have so many, but we try to do at least 3 to 5 comments. So whatever that may be. So just try to comment. I know JB and Elite Easy and they were giving us a lot of comments. So thank you for those. We appreciate that upticking the algorithm and whatnot. But Watcher, Frankie G, Enterprising. Don't be. We're just pulling your leg, Enterprising. M8, Maverick, Nico. Dan was here, Marco, Caleb, all you guys. Monique was here in the beginning. Thank you, guys. And, of course, Kyle, the man of the hour. And Hunter Iggy came in a little bit late. Hi, Hunter, but we are leaving for the night. But see you later. Thank you for the likes and comments and subscribbles, and we love and appreciate all of you. And we will see you this next week, this upcoming Monday.